Morning, ladies. I'll get started in just a minute. I'm going to let a few more hop on. I don't know if it's like this where you guys are, but it's super dark and rainy, and it's the best sleep in kind of morning. So I think girls that are local to where I am are probably going to have a hard time getting out of bed. But I'm catching up on our messages and seeing what Bree is talking about at Aldi. I love that we're all such nerds that we had to share an Aldi find of Post-it notes. And I literally watched the video like, ooh, cardstock Post-it notes. Oh, you guys, I just got a message on Facebook, and it said, "Hey, Lauren, I'm a new missionary here in Murray sharing messages about Jesus Christ. Are you a strong believer?" Like, wow. I don't know if I'm going to respond, but be bold. All right. I am going to, it's already recording. Good. Okay. I'm going to record and make sure I record and upload everything. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I was on a very short call with the girls last night who are on my August Team Cup. And after we went over the rules and the points and all the things, the question was just, okay, so I have someone in my DMs, or I'm messaging someone, or, I reached out and someone said they're interesting, and then everything fell flat, like nothing came of it. And I think one of them said they even offered to put together a share cart and they weren't interested. So I wanted to talk to you guys just about what my process is to getting, and this, by the way, I don't want to be the only one speaking on this. At the end, I would really love a few of the girls that are hitting solid Success Club numbers to also explain their process, because I think it can be different based on the individual. And so I kind of want to hear a few different things if yours is different than how I, like invite and lead people through. But the first thing that I wanted to show you, let me share my screen. This is in the Coach Game Plan, like basically business tracker that I created for you guys. It's in Team United Legacy. Go to the file section, which they changed Facebook up on a desktop, but go to the file section. Coach Game Plan is what this is called. But here is a part in it called the basics. And just some things that I do to set up my business every single day to make sure that I'm going to have what I need to invite. Because if you aren't posting and if you aren't doing the things, then when you go to invite, it's going to be really awkward. And you're probably are going to fall flat. So here's the things that I do. I make sure I have solid content on my social media, because that acts like your storefront. Like I don't always, and that's okay, but I try to post every single day. And I try to keep my content coach related or fitness related, but not in a salesy way, in a way that is actually affected in my life. Like I talk a lot about how I've become a better mom because I can be more present than if I were a teacher. I talk about how like yesterday I was explaining that like I've really just not been consistent with my workouts, but that's still okay because I'm still moving forward. That's still what progress is still moving forward. It doesn't matter how slow or fast. So like always kind of giving just like real things about my life, but explaining how they relate to fitness. Create stories that represent your style and brand and save them to your highlights, because you would be amazed at the amount of people that'll go to your account and go to your highlights and just literally binge watch everything on there to try to figure out who you are. I've actually had a lot of people send me a message saying, hey, I have been interested in Beachbody for a long time. And when I finally landed on your account, I went through your stories and I realized that you stand for a lot of the things that I stand for. And so like that's how like they got to know me, was all those stories that I had saved. And you can go like creep my account if you want to kind of see what I have, but I have one highlight reel for just funny things that happen, because I think that's important to me, so people know that I really like a good time. I have a highlight where I talk about like what I do when I have a bunch of food in my fridge and I'm throwing food and recipes together. um, I have a highlight reel of what workout program I'm doing at that current moment, like just different things that they can see, basically what I'm all about. And then you can, by the way, you can save those like your Instagram stories. I don't sit there and create a new marketing plan every single day. Like a lot of times I'm like, what did I post last Monday? Like I'm just going to like repost that in a different way. Like it's the same stuff. It's just a different day, because you're going to have, and this is most people actually, that get tired of Instagram and they put their phone down for like 2 weeks and don't open up Instagram. Or you're going to have people that only hop on like every 3 days and they're not seeing your stuff all the time. You see your stuff all the time. You feel like you're just like vomiting up the same information over and over again. But a lot of people, they are here for it if they really love your content, or they're not seeing it very often. So don't feel like it's a scary thing to do that. And then this is something very important on number 2, post a workout or meal idea or product or something to your something in our vitals, every single day, or make a feed post about it. And make sure they align with what challenge group or boot camp you have coming up. So if you don't have a boot camp that you're inviting to, that's already an issue. Make note of that. Make sure you have a boot camp you're inviting to. Set a date, decide on a program or theme, create the group, and get in the mindset that you are inviting to that. So because half the time when my girls go to invite, or when I go to invite, I open up my phone and I'm like, what do I say? Who do I send it to? Like, I don't even know. So I'm like, okay, I know I have a challenge group starting on, I'm gonna make up a date here, August 15th. I know I have a challenge group coming on August 15th. So I'm gonna send out everyone, I'm gonna send out like 10 messages from who's watching my last workout story, explaining to them that I have a group opening August 15th, and it's gonna be 20 to 40-minute workouts and blah, 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 go. And that's what I do. That's how I try to make, and I'll show you my actual wording here in a second. But that's what I do. I have a date, I have a time, I have a little bit of info in there, not much, just a little bit. And that's how I work through that. To find people to invite, look at your stories or your post from the following day. Try not to make it more than 24 to 48 hours later, and invite 5 to 10 of them to join a challenge group. This is not cold prospecting, or as they call it. I don't even like the word prospecting. It's not cold inviting, because if they're watching your stories or they're liking your post, then they're familiar with you, who you are. They obviously like you, and they're considered part of your warm market. Guys, I've had people where I have invited them every single month for like literally like 9 or 10 months, like that many messages. And then they ghost me. And then finally one day on their own accord, not me even sending an invite, but on their own accord, they're like, okay, I'm finally ready. That's just how they had to work through it, was just ignoring me. It's not a personal thing. When they ignore you, it is not a personal thing. I swear to you, if you are continuing to send them that invite, and they're continuing to watch your story, they know where the unfollow button is. They're adults. So like they are there because they're still interested. They're just not ready. So every single month I just kind of change up my messaging, and I'm like, hey, you may, still not be ready, but I definitely want to let you know that I have an opening. This group starts on this date. I'd love to give you more information if that's something you want to consider right now. And so every single month, and then randomly one magical month, it just all clicks for them and they think they can do it and they believe in themselves. So one thing that I don't do is track every single invite. That is a time suck. because if they didn't respond back, like there's no need to follow up. You know what I'm saying? I only follow up. The only way I follow up is through my Instagram story invites again. So if I create their messages and I see that I've already invited them, then that's my follow up. But otherwise, because otherwise what you'll do is you'll make this huge list. You'll start to go back to follow up with these people. You'll notice that someone unfollowed you. You'll get your feelings hurt. You don't want to send the rest of the follow-ups, blah, 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 and all the things. So I just stopped doing that a long time ago. Moira Kusaba, who's actually a top 10 coach making millions of dollars with this company, she doesn't do that either. So I'm like, okay, there are other top coaches. That's how their brain works. That's how I'm going to do it too. Because I'm going to focus on the people that are responding to me. And I think, and then number 6 is actually probably the most important. And if I had to guess, because I was sitting there last night thinking about, okay, who are my high Success Club hitters and what do I notice about even their feed and their posts? And it's that they're jacked out of their brain to share this with other women, like jacked. Not just, oh, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I have to make a post today. But like, it almost feels like they have to hold themselves back from making 2 posts a day. A few of those women that came to my mind are Carly, Elaine, and Kayla Slack. Like literally when I read their posts, I'm like I'm amped up to do my workout for the day. So, and they're all hitting very consistently high Success Club numbers. And I can guarantee they're probably not even second guessing or even thinking about what they're saying in people's DMs because their excitement is what's leading that conversation. That's my guess. So when you invite, remember how this changed your life and the power that it has to change others' lives. Like I can think of also a few girls that believe in these products, but they have so much fear about asking people to spend money on something that they might benefit from that it sucks all the joy from the inviting process also. Guys, I was jumping over myself to pay $160 that I didn't have when I first started this program because I knew it was the answer for me. And some people, because they are concerned about other people's money more than those people are, try to talk them out of it or try to talk them into a lower price point package or something. Don't do that. Let these adults make their own decisions about which package they want and give them the package that you really think is best. Like genuinely, like show them the package that you really think is best, not the one you think they can't afford. That's not your job. Your job has nothing to do with knowing or foreseeing their finances. Your job is to show them what worked for you and consult with them based on that. So like, well, and I'll get to this. I'll show you how I do that. I'm gonna go here again to the file section. And they changed this up so much that I'm like lost. Okay. I will do this inviting guide for MBF, which this is, again, it's all in the file section of Team United Legacy. I do use scripts. I always use scripts because if I don't, which I mean, it's kind of like just in my head now. I don't even have to use a script because I just automatically do it now. But in the beginning, I absolutely had to because something that we tend to do is give them too much information to the point where they're overwhelmed, or this is what it really is most of the time. You end up giving them an objection they didn't know existed. You can give them so much information that it scares them because they can't process through it all and how they're going to jump through all those hurdles. Human minds are actually set up to, if they see something that is too hard to process within like so many seconds, it shuts down and goes somewhere else. It's a defense mechanism. And so that's why I try to keep my things like 2 to 3 sentences at most. I never do, messages this long unless like I'm responding to something personal. But here's something, and here's 2 different examples. So I was telling my girls last night as well.
Until I picked him back up.
Hang on, there's something. All right, just make sure you're muted. I can't tell who it is. There we go. Okay, so some people like to go to DMs and just chat and have like a little conversation and all the things, and then start inviting. If you're one of those people, then this top one's for you. Like, oh, like whatever you're talking about. So true. Hey, while I have you, this is random, but I've been talking with a few, and don't use random. It's overused now. People do something different. This is random, but I've been talking with a few girls right now about an upcoming fitness accountability group I'm heading up on July 6th. Obviously, this one's old. August 6th. You've been so fun to talk to and get to know, and I figured you wouldn't mind if I asked. Would you be open to hearing more about it and doing it with us? Now, this is crucial, the us part, because it shows that you're not like just this lone ranger out there, but also it shows like the camaraderie of it right from the gate. Like they are already seeing that you're inviting them into a movement, not just a, hey, here, let's get fit. Because if we're going to be honest, there's a million things you can do to be fit. There's not a million things you can do to be fit for the price that we have with a group of women just like you. So that's one way. If this is what, your first message to somebody, then this is kind of what I send. Hey girl, I saw where you watched my story about this, or you commented, or whatever they did. So I wanted to make sure that you knew about this. I know you work and you're short on time with school. So again, this is where you have to know the person, like actually go to their profile and learn something about them. That goes a long way with this. I know that you're working, you're short on time with school just starting back. So this workout would be perfect because it's only 25 to 35 minutes a day for 6 weeks and it's a super blah, blah, blah. You guys know that whole thing. Would you be open to hearing more and doing it with us? Again, do it with us. And then also the would you be open? I know that really sounds kind of robotic a little bit, but it's very important to word it something like that, or like, would you be up for hearing more? Or would you be okay with hearing more? And the reason that you word it that way is because you're just asking them if they are open to the information. You're not saying like, do you want me to send you the packages right now? So you want them to automatically feel like, well, sure, like I'd be open to hearing about it. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't turn down an opportunity. And then here's another example that you guys can use. I wanted to give you guys a lot of those so that you can kind of see. And if they say yes, first of all, if they say no, like respect that. I listened to a podcast called Your Virtual Upline with Bob Heilig. And he explains that as network marketers, you need to view yourself more as a consultant and not a salesperson. If you're a salesperson, like your job is to close, like that's your job. And that is our job, but as a consultant, we can do that better. We can make those people feel more heard. That's important to me. I want to feel heard. I want to know that you actually care about how this is going to fit into my life. And so if they say no, respect that. Like I don't go jumping through hoops to start talking about objections. Like, well, why? Like don't get defensive. You literally don't know what they're going through, what their body image is, what they've been through. Like people process things so differently. I need to work out to process things. Some people, it makes them feel like a failure. So like, you just literally have to respect where people are with that. We'll talk about objections, but don't get too excited and defensive to go with objections. So if they say no, just be like, hey, that's fine. Like, I totally get that. It's not always the best time for everybody. I hope you have a great weekend. Like, seriously, just kind of like let them off, let them know that you're a real human, whatever. But if they say yes, say, awesome. What kind of results are you looking for? I want to make sure I pair you with the best program for you. Now, obviously, in this invite, I already geared them toward MBF. Like even in that invite where it's 25 to 35 minutes a day, blah, blah, blah. But I still want to make this about them. So I ask, what kind of results are you looking for? I want to make sure I pair you with the best program. And then we chat for a little bit on that. Sometimes they're just like, I don't care, just set me up with one. I'm like, okay, cool. Then I go to, well, cool, I think MBF would be best for you. Or every once in a while, someone's like, I have a full hour to work out every day. I want to get really focused. I'm like, well, cool, let's talk about 80-day obsession. Like maybe MBF's not enough. Like, let's go straight into 80-day. Or sometimes they're like, I'm really short on time and I don't have any equipment and I don't want to buy any. I'm like, all right, let's talk about Transform 20. So there are times that I actually shift, but usually I go in with, MBF or whatever that launch is in mind, just because it helps keep both of y'all straight. Like otherwise you'd be veering down 8,000 rabbit holes with all the programs we have. They don't need to know that they're getting a million programs with Beachbody On Demand. That's kind of a fun surprise that I let my girls see. I just tell them they're getting this program because, again, if you're like, yeah, and you get access to all these programs and blah, 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 like that would make me shut down and be like, well, which one do I do? And why do I have to do all of them in 6 weeks? You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, hey, yeah, you get access to it for a full year and it's a 6-week program, but you have access for a full year. And then that way there's not like all this like added information that they really don't need to just get started, Sometimes we try to show them all the bells and whistles when that's actually more of a distraction than it is like helping. So 6-week group, the goal is to get you results. And it is. Am I going to be like, a drill sergeant? No, I'm not going to do that. But my goal is to get you results. So I'm looking for women that are willing to commit to this program as best as they can for 7 days a week, blah, 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 and log the workouts on our challenge tracker app so that I can guide you and help you be as successful as possible. Do you think you can commit to that? Now, what's important about this message is, hey, guess what? Now I need you to sell yourself to me. All right. I'm going to invest time in you if you work with me. Can you promise me that you can commit to that? It does 2 things. It shows that you are going to be a leader for them, and it shows that like it's effort on their part. Like, this is not drink Shakeology and get skinny program. This is Shakeology is going to help with so many nutrient deficiencies, but you still got to do all the other things. So that's the 2-part thing there that kind of really jumpstarts them to realize like this could be something that really could change my life. And then yes, sometimes you'll get girls that are like, I don't know. I really only have 5 days a week. And that's when I'm like, okay, cool. Again, I'm not a drill sergeant. I'm like, hey, you know what? If you only have 5 days a week, then I can help you figure out which workouts to do in those 5 days. Or we can just drag this program out for a longer time period. And then that way it can work for you that way. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm not like, nope, if you can't do it exactly 7 days, then I'm like, go find another coach. Like, that's not how it works. But I do just want to let them know that I will hold them accountable to that. That's what they're wanting. Again, if you get a yes, then great. This program that I'll be preparing you for, this is the program, that I'll be preparing you for and then coaching you through. It's perfect for making fitness and good nutrition a lifestyle instead of just looking for quick fixes. Tell me what you think. Now, here's what's funny. I used to give them the video right out of the gate. I used to say, here's the, little, 2-minute video that explains the program. Tell me what you think. And every time I did that, that's when my messages would fall flat. It was like, I don't think it was overwhelming them, but I think it let them have an easy out to just not answer me back because I wasn't really engaging in conversation with them from the onset. I really think it's important to have a conversation about their goals and just be a person with them for a hot minute. Because then after you've told them all that you can work with them and hold them accountable and that you have this challenge tracker app and you are slowly working through it with them, then when you get to this video, it's a done deal. And then they're like, yes, how do I do this? So, and if they don't respond back, then just follow up. Just say, hey, did you get a chance to watch the video? What'd you think? What were your thoughts? Blah, blah, blah. If they love it, this is where I think, like I said earlier, where I think Elaine and Kayla and Carly and a lot of you are just really nailing it, is that you are jacked for them to start. Like, you're like, yes, I knew you'd love it. And like, you're just like, okay, here's all the things, and that's when you just go into it naturally. Because I look at this as not like I'm making money off of this. I'm looking at this as like, can you believe this is $160? Like, really, can you believe that? Like, if I didn't make money off of Beachbody, I'd probably still be talking about it like this with people. I just wouldn't have such a system set up. So again, you guys know this, that I usually also ask them to be discount coaches right there on the spot. I just say something along the lines of, hey, I'm going to send you in the share cart. You're going to see that I'm enrolling you as a coach, just in case you end up loving Shakeology or the performance line as much as I do. You can cancel that at any time if you decide it's not for you, but most of my clients choose to do this right from the beginning so they can get the savings if they want them and then cancel if they don't. Seriously, like, no big deal, no pressure, but most of my clients do this. And that's the honest truth. Most of my clients do this. It makes more sense to save money. And then that way they know, oh, okay, I'm not, lying and saying I'm a coach when I'm not. And, oh, this is normal. Like, people sometimes are like, she's trying to rope me in, like, no, I'm not trying to. Like, it's actually easier to cancel if you are a coach. And I tell them that sometimes too. And then I'm sending them this. Again, after I send them whichever, whether it's the challenge pack or the completion pack, if they're already a customer, when I send them that, right underneath, this is when I send a voice message. And I'll say, hey, I just want to let you know, I do everything you see in that middle package. I am very interested in Shakeology, obviously, for the reasons of just having solid nutrition and making sure I'm getting that in so that my body is properly fueled. But I love Recover for after my workouts because it helps with muscle soreness and it helps actually build and tone quicker. I noticed a huge difference after I incorporated that. And then I'm obsessed with Energize on every single level. I use it before my workout, but sometimes I also just use it to clean my house. So that's the package that I use. But that basic challenge pack is also a good route if you are just wanting to get started. And that, I'm going to credit that whole thing. I used to word it that way, but I never added that last part until Bailey Sales. I don't know if she's on this call or not. Bailey rocked my world one day when she was like, we weren't even talking about selling. We weren't even talking about that. We were just all having a little conversation about how we got started with Beachbody and what we think has been the best for us. And she was like, I can sell people that first pack if they want it, but like the best one's the middle one. And I thought that's the mindset. That is the mindset. I don't want to sell anyone the basic challenge pack because that's not what I use. It's just not. When I am selling this to people, I want them to have what I have. I want them to have every tool in the tool belt that I have. And I want them to understand like how much more fun it is when I get to drink basically chocolate milk after my workout that tones my muscles, and then also have Energize whenever I'm not feeling my workout. So yeah, like I'm like, I can still give you the Shakeology Alone Challenge Pack, but the best one that I've noticed for me has just been the one in the middle. So like, I'm very honest with people about that. All right. Here's an actual conversation. I'm not going to go through this. No, actually I will. Why not? This is one I had back in July of 2018 when I first started implementing this script. And I've had many, many, many like this since. But hey girl, I saw your comment on my post. I'd love to consider you to be part of our Live 4 test group. Are you still open to hearing more details about it? And then she ghosted me because I left the time on there so you guys can see. That's 15 days later? 15 days. So I said, hey, I still have women wanting to join in on that fitness challenge you asked about. I'll be able to align you with a nutrition plan and workout routine that works and get you results and energy. Do you want the info on that? Yes, so sorry. I've been crazy busy with work. She probably just opened the message, meant to reply, couldn't, and forgot all about it. And I said, cool, all right, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Okay, since this is a test group, notice I'm using the script. Since this is a test group and the goal is to get you results, I'm looking for women that are willing to commit to this program as best as you can for 8 weeks, blah, 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 blah. And then I said, do you think you can commit to that? Yes, absolutely. Okay, here's the program. I'll help you learn. And it's so funny because like I see her face as I'm reading this. I said, okay, here's the program. I'll help you learn and guide you through it as we do it together. That's also important, by the way, as we do it together. Add that when you can somewhere in there because that's important for them to know like, oh, like she's not out here doing this like crazy, her own program. Like we're literally going to be doing the same program. I forgot about that. I think that's helpful. And so I sent her the video, and this was, Live 4. She said, I am pumped for this. And I said, it's been amazing, and I've already seen results even after the crazy program I did before, which was 80 Day Obsession, with less working out. Here are the options for joining, you choose. And I sent her the challenge pack. She says, I did the 21-day fix and I saw results, but not having anyone around me doing it too made it extremely difficult. That's where that let's do it together thing comes in. We'll be doing this at the same time with tons of other women too. Are you working with a coach already? Because I was like, oh shoot, she said she did a 21-day fix. I better make sure. She said, not anymore. Gotcha. So that's where we just kind of chatted a little bit. I'm going to look over it in the morning and I'll let you know. And then the next morning, which I would have followed up, but she actually responded first and said, I want to do the middle one. And I said, awesome. That's the one I do, which I did not even, that was before I even started doing the thing where I'm like, hey, do the middle package. I can sell you the first one if you want, but do the middle one. And then I just sent her everything she needed. She even did the express shipping, and I said, I'll reimburse it. And she was like, nah, it's okay. So like, it's just have that conversation with people. The reason I use the script and the reason that, because I was so against it, you guys, I'm going to stop sharing so I can see your faces. The reason I was so against a script for a really long time was because I thought it would make me a robot. I thought, oh, that's salesy. But the reality is you are a leader. You're a leader, whether you like it or not. You signed up to be a coach. And so you need to like be able to tell girls what you are leading them through and how you are doing that. And what they're like, basically, I mean, again, you're not a drill sergeant, but you are setting expectations and you are going to do it with them. That's what's important. Again, you're not a drill sergeant on the side yelling push-ups while you're not doing the push-ups. You're going to be doing everything that they're doing, and you're asking them to join you with that and lead them and guide them through it. So that script literally changed my entire, I probably wouldn't be a coach. I would have probably quit because there was no system. There was no structure. Every time someone messaged me or I messaged them, I would have a heart attack because I didn't have a system and I didn't have a game plan to explain anything to them. Okay. Will you tell? First of all, Sarah, I didn't hear what you were saying. I just heard like a little noise in the background, so you're good. Elaine asked me privately, will you tell the difference for the middle package versus the basic old format since the new MBF doesn't break them down like that? Like tell you the difference or tell the client the difference? Oh.
Sorry, because the MBF one just does Shakeology and then performance is like in the middle, and then the deluxe where the old ones used to do Shakeology and performance on the left. That. And the middle one has it combined. And then the deluxe had like the beach bars and the 3-day refresh and all that stuff on there. Okay. So by middle, you mean the deluxe, which has Shakeology and performance.
Yes, I'm sorry. That was my error. I was just using, good grief. I'm glad you pointed that out because I may have sent that to people before and said that because I just assumed that it was still the same format. But yes, okay, so Elaine is right. I'm looking at it now. It is now Shakeology and then the performance pack and then the deluxe. They got rid of that mega deluxe thing. Okay, all right. But I think, yeah, okay, they got rid of that big Gombi one on the end because I don't think anyone was ordering that. It had like a mat included with it and something else. Okay, so yeah, there is. So I guess now I would be telling them I get the one on the left, not the one in the middle. So make sure you know your graphic that you're sending out. Anything else? Was that helpful? And again, I think your superpower is going to be your excitement. Like I really do. If you're not excited, you're not going to want to send messages. It's going to be a painful process. But if you're excited because you're seeing crazy, awesome results and you're having energy you haven't had in a long time or whatever it is that you love this for, people are going to be able to feel that and tell that.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So how do you like expand outside of just your like immediate network or people that are kind of like just friends already? So I've made my, go away for a minute, please. Instagram page, like public, put my coach, website on there. And so I've done that and done some hashtags to try to like pull in extra people. Cause I feel like I've already had a couple of conversations with my kind of immediate network and they're not ready right now. They may, I think, come in a couple of months, or maybe trying to like get them to commit maybe to a group here in a couple of weeks. But I'm just trying to figure out how to maybe like expand to that next, like, I don't know, loop of people.
No, and that's super smart. Like, that's very much thinking ahead. A lot of girls will get to the end of their warm market and go, oh crap, now what? But it's awesome that you're already thinking about like, okay, what's going to happen when I run out of this and move forward. So what I do is I basically post about the same things all the time because like I just know what I enjoy talking about and I know what my people enjoy hearing from me at this point. And one thing, like when I'm talking about coaching, one of the biggest things I talk about is how it helped me pay off debt. And so, if I'm making a coaching post that day and I'm like, oh, and then, I got to do an extra payment on this debt bill or whatever it is. I'm like, okay, I talk about debt. I follow Dave Ramsey. I follow his daughter, Rachel Cruz. Usually I go to Rachel Cruz's account because it's more mamas like me and not just old men following Dave. And so I'll go to Rachel Cruz's account and I'll see who liked her last post and I'll start following people that look like they're my people. Because what that will do is it will send them, they'll go look at my account and they'll see my last post and it's about debt. And they're like, oh, okay, she's like my people. And they don't know that I went to Rachel Cruz's account. They don't know how I came about that, but they just know that, oh, well, yeah. So she started following me and we both are about paying off debt. And then I even take it a step further usually. And on Rachel's account, I will share on my stories the post that Rachel made. So like, then they're like looking at my stories and they see a post by Rachel Cruz and they're like, oh, and she likes Rachel. And like, they literally don't even put it together that that's probably how I found them because they're not thinking that way. They're just like excited to find another fellow Rachel Cruz follower. So that's how I do that. So sometimes I'll post about, fitness and then I'll go to like Fabletics and I'll follow a few people and I don't know, share something. I don't know, just whatever I share that day is who's like account, like a bigger account that I'll go to and find people there, if that makes sense. And then they're way more likely to follow me because they automatically first post see a relationship. I hope that helps. Also, let me clarify this as well. It's hard to find followers on Instagram right now. They are making things incredibly difficult. They don't want, it's like they want people to sell on Instagram. They want Instagram to be like a platform to sell, but only if they're going to benefit off of it through sponsored ads and something else, like in some other way. And so if they aren't making money off of us, they try to kind of shut us down a little bit. Kind of sucks. But I don't think it'll be that way forever. Plus, if you just have good content, it goes past that anyway. Anyone else have anything on that that's been helpful? Is anyone else, like I know Elaine, Tara, a few of you others, are you messaging any differently when you are enrolling someone? Does your process look any different?
Mine doesn't. I will say that it has evolved since the beginning because of course at the beginning I had no idea what I was doing and didn't really know anything. So absolutely stuck to the scripts and like probably only altered a couple of words here and there to sound more like me. I started with hey girls and then I realized that's not how I talk to humans, and so I've switched that up and then have noticed that that's kind of how I talk to people now. So they're kind of back in there, and people know that, and they understand like, oh, she's really talking to me now. And then just, so that it's definitely started with the script process for sure. And that helped me a ton to kind of wrangle in my thoughts, because even at the beginning I was excited. I'm like, let me just give you everything. And then people are just like, whoa, no, thank you. Like, I didn't ask for this. You're sharing me. So let's tone it down some. So it's definitely evolved into kind of how I naturally talk with people. And I think in the beginning, I was very much caught up on when people said no, I wanted to be like, well, why? What's different? And will you spend this much on over here? So why not spend it when it's appropriate and actually going to benefit you here? People are not excited about that. I've learned my lesson. And so I think that now when I get no's, I just kind of, I get it. Now it's not the right time. And I kind of just put, whether they give me a reason for no or not, I don't ask for it. I just kind of assume it's not the right time. And I'll say that. And then I have like a list of people that have told me that. And then I'll go back like 2 months later. Hey, I know we talked a couple months ago. It wasn't the right time. I'm doing this month. And I wanted to make sure you knew that I have a spot here for you. And sometimes they do nothing. And then it's later and later. And that's honestly the bulk of June and July have been people that I had regular conversations with in January that have said nothing to me since, and then have come to me. And that's just, I mean, it's a long game. Mm-hmm. And once I kind of absorbed that and made it less about, because in the beginning for me, it was about making money. I mean, that's super exciting, right? Making money for something that you love. When that kind of, my vision morphed into something that was me, my language changed, everything changed, and like my attitude changed. And I think people are seeing that now and are now like wanting to be a part of it. And I'm seeing that a lot in people that want to already start with August. Are you doing one in August yet? Because I haven't posted about what's happening in August. They're just like, this is the last day. Like, are you doing something for August? Help me out. So I'm like, oh, all right. Well, now people are keeping me on my toes and making me remind me that I need to talk about my August group coming up. But it's just it's just going to take practice, and there's going to be times that you're going to suck at it. And that's just the way it is with everything. And you just learn, and you just take that knowledge to the next one.
Yeah. And I mean, the key thing there is you figured out what you enjoyed about it. Because like, I can tell you what I love about Beachbody all day long, but it doesn't matter until you find out what you love about it. Tara, let's say someone gives you an objection, but you can tell they really want to do it, but and I'm putting this on you because you always give the right answer on this, always. Like, someone really wants to, but they give an objection. How do you go about talking to them without being defensive or combative?
It typically depends on the objection, but most of the time it's something that I understand and I can relate to. So that if they say, I really can't right now because it's just too expensive, then I will immediately go into, oh my gosh, I totally get it. Because I signed up when my husband didn't have a job and I had just quit mine to stay home with my kids. So we were 2 unemployed people and I needed to do this. So I know what it's like. I would never ask you to sacrifice your financial freedom for physical fitness. However, I think we have a way that we could make this work. So that's how I go into it. And then I'll talk about coaching, or I'll talk about just how they can get the discount, or I'll tell them how I saved money at the beginning, or where I made cuts in my budget to make this work, if it was really a priority, that kind of thing. So I always try to relate to their objection, because chances are I could probably use the same objection in my own life. Even if I wasn't what I was using at the time, I could probably understand it. And then I go from there. So I kind of validate them and then explain how we can make it work. And if it's not going to work, then I leave it. And I, like Elaine said, I check back in a couple months and I say, hey, I know the timing wasn't right because you were trying to hit some financial goals. I was just wondering, have you hit them? Like, how are you doing with that? And I ask them about it without asking about Beachbody again, because then I'm checking in with their personal life. And I'm like a nice person checking in with them, not just a nice person coming at them with products to sell. So I like to check back in with them and see where they're at there. Sorry, my son's calling.
No, I like it. Very real life. Yes, I always like asking Tara that, because she is so good at the very minute someone will say, well, I don't have time, or I don't have the money, or I don't have whatever it is. Or some people, this is the objection that I gave was, well, I already know how to eat well. I don't need Beachbody. Or I already know how to work out. I don't need this. And the honest truth was that I did know how to eat well and I did know how to exercise. I did know those things, but I wasn't doing them. So, okay, then why are you in my inbox if you know how to do it, Lauren? So she kind of called me out on that, thank goodness. But I guess the thing that you always do is say, oh my goodness, I know how you feel. And now if there's something that you truly don't relate on, don't lie. But like usually, usually you're like, oh yeah, like I remember, having like feeling that way when I first joined. And so I felt this way, but here's what I actually found, or here's what I actually did. So you are already showing them, hey, here's a problem that I solved. I can help you solve this one. And if I can help you solve this, I can help you solve some when you're in your fitness journey with me. So you're already showing them how you're going to guide them that way. So I don't look at objections as a way to be like, let me tell you, girl. I look at them as like, oh, okay, cool. Like me too. I had the same issues because I usually did. I had the money one. I had the time. Well, I didn't have the time issue. The time, I had nothing but time, if I'm going to be honest. But I just don't need this. I already know what I'm doing. Oh, okay. Well, go do that. And I do get, by the way, a lot of people that give me that objection. And I'm like, oh, cool. If you have something that's already working for you and you're seeing the results that you want, then I would never want to take you away from that. And then a couple months later, it's always, okay, I haven't done anything with XYZ. What is this Beachbody thing? Like, what, can I do it from home? Like almost every time. So it's, again, sometimes you kind of have to like let people go back to their own den of doom and realize that they don't have the answers before you can move on. Okay, anything else?
You can also let your objections fuel your posts. Because I did have somebody tell me once their objection was literally, I don't know, I kind of like my sweets too much. And I was just like, oh, maybe I don't talk about what I'm like enjoying and splurging on enough. I only talk about the good stuff. So I let that be post for a couple weeks. And then it came back around. It was like, oh yeah, I do eat brownies.
I forgot about that. That's a good one. If you're struggling with content, go to your messages and see what people are objecting to. And then that's your content. Like I have people all the time that have done the Whole30 and they're like, oh, I miss bread, or I miss this or that, which, I mean, obviously if you have a gluten intolerance, don't eat gluten. I'm never going to tell someone to eat it, but like on our plan, we can have it. We can have a half of a sandwich, and it count as a yellow container and we're going to be okay. And so I like to sometimes show a sandwich is what I'm eating, with some whole wheat bread. People are like, you can eat a sandwich on your diet. I'm like, yes, this is called living. So sometimes I have to take, because people are like hung up on the Whole30 is the only way to live. And that's great if you can do that sustainably. I just can't. It's not going to fit my time schedule. So I try to show people how you can make this work and still have little things here and there, and it doesn't derail you at all. Actually, it's not even oh, well, I had a piece of bread, so I'm going to go do an extra, 10-minute ab workout. It's that's not even how it works. I had a piece of bread because that's what my carb was for the day, So share with people how normal this is. Or any objection. Elaine killed 20 objections in her post the other day. Everybody go copy that thing. So, all right, well, take a pick or boomerang. Let's do a boomerang since we all are actually on our screens. Oh. All right, 3, 2, 1, and move. You can barely see me, but I'm just going to save it anyway. I'm too dark for some reason. Okay, bye, you guys. This will be recorded if you need to check back.